Deputy Speaker, this is a budget that does deliver the growth, jobs and opportunity that people on the Central Coast deserve. It's a have-a-go budget that builds on the commitments we've already made to the people of my electorate, and I am proud to be part of this government that is delivering not only on a great plan for our nation, but a fantastic plan for the Central Coast in a way that Labor never did in the 6 years that they represented people in my electorate on the Central Coast. So, as I will outline in this speech today, Mr Deputy Speaker, we're standing up for the coast by delivering more jobs, more growth opportunity for small businesses and more opportunity for our community to thrive. This is a budget I'm really proud of. It's a budget that's already been well received across the electorate from families, small businesses and indeed across my community. It is fair, it's balanced and it's good for the Central Coast because it unlocks the potential of our region. And as a passionate coastie, I believe we're on track to build a stronger region thanks to many of the initiatives outlined in this budget. One of the major highlights in this budget, Mr Deputy Speaker, is our Growing Jobs and Small Business package. There are practical measures to help small businesses on the Central Coast to invest, to hire, to grow and to thrive. There's the lowest small business company tax rate in almost 50 years. Tax cuts of 1.5% for incorporated small businesses with an annual turnover of up to $2 million. Unincorporated small businesses will get a 5% tax discount up to $1,000 a year. Startups will be allowed to immediately deduct professional expenses, providing cash flow benefits. And we're also expanding tax concessions for employee share schemes. And, Mr Deputy Speaker, in some of the best news from this budget, small businesses with a turnover of less than $2 million can claim an immediate tax deduction for each and every asset purchase up to $20,000 up to the 30th of June 2017. For many businesses on the Central Coast, this means they can now buy machinery or equipment costing less than or costing up to $20,000 for their businesses and deduct the full amount immediately from their taxable income. This is about creating the environment where people with real ambitions in enterprise and the people who are out there creating jobs, because we know it's not government that creates jobs, Mr Deputy Speaker, it's business that creates jobs. And our businesses, our small businesses who are the engine room, the backbone of our economy, can have a go, can grow, thrive, prosper and succeed. You know, Labor claims that they had a scheme as well, but Labor linked it to a failed mining tax, which didn't actually raise any money, whereas we've integrated it into our responsible long-term economic plan, which also involves us getting back to surplus in a credible way. Labor put something on the table that wasn't funded and was designed to distract people. But our budget engages our local businesses and encourages them to help boost our economy. And I spoke with the regional manager of the New South Wales Central Coast Business Chamber, Dan Farmer, and he was saying that 5 years ago the small business community wasn't even mentioned on budget night, but now it is front and centre of the budget commentary. He described this budget as a small business budget. He said the cut in company tax rate and the asset purchase deduction is a massive boost, and this may allow the small business owner to employ that extra apprentice or extend the hours of a current employee. I spoke with Logan, Erica and Peter, the owners of a very popular cafe called Fahrenheit Cafe in East Gosford. It's a great cafe. They actually taught me how to make a coffee, Mr Deputy Speaker, a couple of weeks ago. They said that they're actually thinking of buying a new fridge to get their cafe up and running in the local community. And Edgar Adams, the editor of the Central Coast Business Review, a very esteemed business publication on the Central Coast, said, "At last, a budget that recognises small business. Accolades to Minister Bilson." Accolades to Minister Bilson indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker, and to this coalition government led by Prime Minister Tony Abbott. This budget is also a jobs budget for the Central Coast. We've committed to locating a Commonwealth agency in a purpose-built building in Gosford CBD. There will be 600 new jobs for the region, 600 new jobs that will be a game changer for the Central Coast. It'll be the catalyst for an economic multiplier effect of hundreds more jobs. There's 500 coming from the Australian Tax Office and 100 from complementary agencies right for our region. Mr Deputy Speaker, as I've said in this place many times before, we originally promised 300 new jobs. We've now doubled that, and this budget confirms that we are working with the ATO to have this Centre of Excellence up and running by the end of 2017. And I'm pleased to say that the ATO has advised they've received an extremely positive response to the expressions of interest. with significant interest in building this in Gosford. And this is great news because it helps to drive innovation and competition, and it attracts serious investors to our region. John Moolan, the CEO of Regional Development Central Coast, told me that for so long in our region we've had plans and strategies, but now we're finally moving forward as a region. He said we're getting smarter, we're using really good data, and we're getting results. And residents from across the Central Coast are welcoming this budget. Raymond Field from Umina Beach was one of the first to respond on my Facebook page, saying it's nice to see the Central Coast being taken seriously as its own region. The budget also revealed a $10 million funding injection to Summersby Industrial Park as part of the National Stronger Regions Fund, which is part of a $28 million project being driven by Gosford City Council, and I do commend them for this initiative. This upgrade, economic modelling, demonstrates that this upgrade is set to create more than 3,000 new jobs for the Central Coast and bring a $267 million boost to the local economy. It'll do this by helping to transform the industrial park in Summersby with significant upgrades to roads, stormwater drainage and sewage pipes, making it business ready and making it easier and cheaper for businesses to locate in the Summersby Industrial Park. And it's believed that this will see over 960 jobs coming directly from the upgrade, with new businesses locating there, and another 2,100 once the project's complete across the Central Coast as part of an economic multiplier effect. These 3,000 jobs, Mr Deputy Speaker, is another important way that this budget delivers for our region. But sadly, Mr Deputy Speaker, Labor opposes the National Stronger Regions Fund. And as I've previously said in this House, by opposing it, they're actually opposing the more than 3,000 jobs that the economic modelling indicates could be created by this $10 million investment in the Central Coast. Recently, I called on Labor's representative for the Central Coast, Senator O'Neill, to explain why Labor opposes the National Stronger Regions Fund. And while the senator responded with a media release, she ducked and she avoided the question. Senator O'Neill's media release said there's not one coastie who has a single one of these jobs because they only exist on Lucy's Christmas wish list. She said, I believe this government can deliver jobs for coasties when it happens. So I say to Senator O'Neill, and I say to the Labor Party, believe it. Believe it, because it's already happening. There's already been around 250,000 more jobs created since September 2013 when we came to government. And locally, the economic modelling, as I've indicated, Mr Deputy Speaker, suggested around 3,000 jobs could be created for Summersby, in addition to the 600 new jobs that are coming to Gosford. So I say to Senator O'Neill, please stop complaining about our plan for the Central Coast just because it's not your plan. Get behind our plan, start supporting it to make the coastie's Christmas wish list, not just Lucy's Christmas wish list, come true, because I know so many people on the Central Coast want to see more local jobs for Gosford, more local jobs for the Central Coast, more local jobs for our young people to have a go and to get ahead. Mr Deputy Speaker, this budget also demonstrates that we are delivering on the $7 million we committed to the Kibbleplex Centre in the Gosford CBD. As it stands, the Department of Infrastructure and Regional Development is working with the Council so that a final funding agreement can be prepared. The Department and Gosford City Council are working with the State Library of New South Wales, who's producing a final report on the fit-out. We've also committed to other projects in the growth plan for the Central Coast, including the $3.5 million we committed to the upgrade of Woy Woy Oval. And this upgrade is well underway, and I was out there just the other week to see Gosford Council demolishing the grandstand and commencing building a structure that will be a fantastic civic centrepiece for the peninsula and a great home ground to our local sporting clubs like the Woy Woy Roosters and the Woy Woy Lions. Mr Deputy Speaker, we're also building the roads infrastructure the Central Coast needs. $675,000 to help build the Black Spot at Langford Drive and Woy Woy Road at Carryong has been confirmed in this budget. It also delivers $1.6 million of roads funding for the Central Coast for black spots in my electorate of Robertson at places like East Gosford, Greenpoint, Umina Beach, Gosford and Woy Woy. On top of that, Mr Deputy Speaker, we also saw a doubling of funds for the Roads to Recovery program, which also helps our local councils meet local priorities.
Sorry, you interrupt. Division has been called for in the House. Proceed.